Hello, I'm Lucy from In the Midst of Madness, and today I just wanted to give you a bit of an update really. I haven't done a mental health video for months. I'm not actually sure when the last one I did was, and to be honest I pretty much stopped doing everything. I didn't review, I wasn't colouring, I can't really even tell you what I was doing because I just wasn't doing anything really. I was vaguely watching TV. Yeah, I don't really know what I was doing at all. But my confidence was just completely shot to pieces. I just didn't know what to do. I kept trying to get motivated to do things, and every time I tried I just managed to talk myself out of it, and yeah, I just spent the whole time thinking I should really be doing this. Oh no, who the hell are you to do that? You don't know more than this person or that person, or who's going to watch, who's going to listen, who's going to read. And so I just ended up doing absolutely nothing with my time. It was rubbish. There aren't sort of words to kind of explain what was going on, because I wasn't doing anything. And I don't really know how I've sort of got to the point now where I'm feeling a bit more confident. I don't know why that's happened. I'm certainly really, really pleased that it has, because it was horrible feeling quite that rubbish. But yeah, I don't know what changed, other than I do feel a bit more confident. I don't know why or when it changed, but I just remember kind of a few weeks ago suddenly sort of thinking, you know what, I actually fancy doing some colouring, and I hadn't thought that for ages. So I did some colouring and I actually really enjoyed it, because I had completely stopped enjoying it. I was doing it because I felt I had to. I have a really big sense of duty as a person, and so when I've been sent books by artists or publishers, I feel very strongly that I have to review them, and that I really should be doing that in a timely manner, and that's certainly not something I can say now. And I do feel so guilty for all of the publishers and artists that I've not got to the books of yet. I absolutely will get to them. I'm not someone who quits, but I just had to take some time out, and it wasn't even a deliberate break. I had no intention of stopping. I didn't really even admit to myself or anybody else that I had stopped. So in many ways it wasn't a break, it wasn't a rest. I just didn't do stuff. And I've been kind of annoyed with myself, because I sort of feel like I should have had an imposed break, with some sort of deadline or end point, and then maybe I'd have actually done some other stuff, because there were so many things that I wanted to do, because I have lots of different hobbies. I do loads of different craft stuff, and I didn't end up doing any of those, because every time I thought, oh, I really fancy doing some crochet, or I really want to make some cards, or any of the other things that I can no longer remember but that I definitely thought of, I just kept thinking, oh, but I should be reviewing. And so I then ended up doing absolutely nothing. And days went past, weeks went past, months went past. And yeah, I now seem to be in a bit of a better headspace. But as I say, I don't know what's changed or why. So it's all been a bit strange, and it's all been quite tentative, sort of starting things up again, because I don't know why this has happened, and so I didn't really know if it was going to stay or if it was just going to kind of disappear again and I was going to be back to having no confidence, etc, etc, etc. But at the moment, fingers crossed, I seem to be doing alright, and yeah, it's been really nice, and I've had such a lovely reaction to the reviews and the videos that I've been putting out, and I've really enjoyed doing them, which is such a nice change, because I really was struggling with doing them before. and I hope I won't get to that point again. Like I feel like if I do get to that point again, I need to stop for a while, and I would hope this time that, well, next time, that I would remember what's happened now and think, yeah, let's stop, let's go back to this when I'm well enough and when I'm ready, because there's just no point forcing these things, and I think probably I carried on past the point at which I should have done for so much longer that then when I ended up sort of having an accidental break, it was much longer than it would have been had I said, right, I need some time, I need to be doing other things, I need to get my head doing other things. So yeah, I guess you learn these things with experience. I'm one of these people who has to keep seemingly making the same mistake, because I never quite learn, because I want it to be different. So if I make mistakes normally, I do learn from them and I don't make those mistakes again. Like generally in life, I don't make the same mistake twice. But for some reason with the whole illness thing, I seem to manage to expect different things even though I'm doing the same stuff, which is really silly and a bit weird. And it really isn't something that I can explain, but it does seem to be what happens. So every time I push myself too hard. I used to do it when my ME was bad. It didn't matter how many times I learned that if I rested more often, I would be able to do more often. I would still burn myself out all the time. I would push too hard, do way too much, and then suffer for much longer than I needed to. And it took me so long to learn that. And even though I learned that for that condition, I don't apply it to any of the others. And I'm sure I'm not the only one that does that. I'm sure there must be loads of us that do that. I guess that's part of being a perfectionist, and being kind of a highly driven person. You don't want to stop until you have to, and so you just keep pushing forwards. But yeah, I'm not very good at kind of listening to myself and noticing warning signs, and those kinds of things. I'm really good at shutting stuff out until it's kind of screaming so loudly that I have to listen, and that is the point at which everything sort of falls apart and I stop. And like the last couple of weeks, my anxiety's definitely been a bit better for the last probably month or so. I'm not quite as stressed as I had been. I'm coping with more often, which is fantastic. But I have noticed that my sleep is really off. And I mean, I have insomnia and I've had that for years. But yeah, the last couple of weeks I am really struggling to get to sleep at a remotely decent time. Like normally I go to sleep at sort of 2 AM, and that's usual for me. So I'm very used to that. But like the other day I didn't go to sleep until gone 6. And then the day after that I went to sleep at normal time of I think about 2:30, and then I was randomly awake at 7:45, and I just couldn't sleep. I was just buzzing, and so I know that I'm stressed, but I don't really know what I'm stressed about, and so it's not something that I can kind of fix or deal with or do anything about, because I don't know what it is that's bothering me. But a lot of the time I'm going to bed and I'm tired, but my brain just will not switch off. It feels like I'm buzzing. It's almost like when you've had sugar and you're hyperactive. That it's like I've got a hyperactive child in my brain, and it's just there going, come on, do something. And it's like, no, it's bedtime. Go to sleep. We can do the things in the morning. But obviously then I wake up in the morning, and well, that's if I even can wake up, because I'm often so tired, and then I just feel so sluggish, and I just can't kind of get going, and so I just end up in this perpetual cycle of being absolutely buzzing at night and dead tired in the morning, and then not getting enough done, or like falling asleep during the day because I literally can't stay awake. Like I avoid naps like the plague, but sometimes I literally can't stay awake, and so I have to go to sleep. And then obviously that puts the sleep off at night, and the whole thing just goes around in this horrible cycle until I get so tired that my body sorts itself out and does sleep. But yeah, I've certainly noticed that I'm stressed because I have like no eyebrows at the moment, and it's doing my head in. Like as many of you know, I have Trichotillomania, which means that I compulsively pull out hair, and I hate talking about it, and I hate the fact that it's on my face. Like, it makes me feel so... I don't really even know how to describe it, and as you can probably tell, I'm not someone who is ever at a loss for words, but it makes me feel so abnormal and weird, and I hate looking different, and I can't stop it, and that's the thing. Like, I often feel like screaming at myself because I can feel myself like stroking my face and feeling for hair and then pulling, and it's like, no, stop, please stop. And like sometimes I even like sit on my hands or like squeeze them between my legs and stuff because I just need to stop. But again, it's almost like this tingling in my fingertips, and I have to do it, and it's just, oh, it's rubbish. It makes me feel so kind of weak-willed, because normally I'm really quite strong-minded, and I don't give in to things, I fight for stuff, I work really hard at what I want, but this is just, it's completely out of my control, and I hate that because I'm normally such a kind of controlled person, and this is just something that I have no control over at all, and it does just make me so embarrassed, and I worry about how I look, and I don't want people to see me, and I mean I don't see that many people, which in some ways is a blessing with this, and luckily no one that knows me asks about it, but I mean, people must look, they must wonder, they must want to ask, like, the hell's happened. I guess they must all realise it's a stress thing, even though actually I've barely told anybody that I even have this condition. But I mean, it's been going on for like nearly 10 years, but actually this is pretty much the worst it's been. This is probably the second worst it's been. There was a really bad time at college where I don't even remember what was going on, but I really wasn't well, and it was over Christmas, and much as I adore Christmas, I find that period of the year really, really difficult and stressful because there are so many expectations and there's so much that you have to kind of be doing and joining in with, and that's usually when my depression kicks in, and I now also have seasonal affective disorder, and that gets worse then, and between that and sort of forced family stuff, it's just not a great time for me, and yeah, I think it was a particularly kind of difficult Christmas, and I basically just pulled out both my eyebrows, like just completely, and I remember going back to college and just, I had no idea what to do. Like, I could not have drawn them on. I have zero talent for drawing anything, and I have no makeup talent either, and I don't think I ever even owned an eyebrow pencil, so it's not like I tried. But yeah, I just remember going back to college and just wanting to die. I was just so embarrassed about how I looked, and I remember someone actually asking me if I'd shaved off my eyebrows, and I didn't even know what to do. I didn't know if it was more embarrassing to say, yes, I shaved my eyebrows off, or no, I was so stressed that I pulled them out one by one. Like, which do you go for? They're both dreadful options. So I think I just kind of went, yeah, it was a prank. How was your Christmas? And just tried to get the subject off that, but it just crushed me inside. And yeah, they're really bad at the moment. And I don't know how to stop. I mean, there's not that much more I can pull out at the moment, so it will naturally stop for a bit because there's nothing to pull at, but it's so embarrassing. Like, I don't actually even know why I'm talking about this in this video, other than I have always said that I'll be open and honest and not kind of filter stuff, but it's one of the most, I just keep saying embarrassing, but I don't know how else to describe it. It's one of the most sort of private things about my life. Like, I hate it, and I do find it so kind of shameful, and it does just really, really bother me, and I wish it wasn't something that I felt it necessary to do. I don't even know why it started. I often think back to years ago when it did start. I think it was like 11.5 years ago, and I saw my eyelashes, and then about 1.5 to 2 years after that I saw my eyebrows, and I have no idea why I did it. It's not something I kind of thought was a good idea, or something that I'd seen somewhere else. Like, I had no idea this condition even existed, until I happened to watch a documentary while I was at university, and it was all about people that have trichotillomania, and I was literally watching it because I had an interest in psychology and mental health, and it happened to be on, and it said it was a psychological disorder, so I was like, oh great, right up my street, and it was something I'd never heard of. And I think I spent the whole hour with my mouth open, just jaw dropped, because it was like, oh my god, these people are like me, this is what I have. And I'd never heard of it, I never knew anything about it, and I suddenly realised that, like, this was an actual thing, and yeah, it was, in some ways it was really, really comforting, because I found out that, like, I'm not the only one, but it was also quite worrying, because most of them pulled out hair from their head, and so lots of them had, like, really, really bad bald patches and stuff like that, and that kind of frightened me, because I do not want that to happen, and so I have really kind of made a pact with myself that I will not pull hair from anywhere else, because, like, everyone around me is really used to me not having eyebrows, or having gaps in my eyebrows and stuff like that, and not having proper eyelashes, but I will not touch the hair on my head, because I couldn't deal with that on top of everything else. So at least I found out kind of early on, so that I could find out that that was something that I really, really shouldn't do. So yeah, at the moment, like, sleep and eyebrows are definitely an issue, but I am trying to kind of be braver in terms of the anxiety stuff, and I'm currently coping better with certain things, because I changed my diet about 6 weeks ago. I have really quite bad IBS, and it was getting worse and worse and worse. I've had it since I was like 18, 19, so nearly 10 years, and it was getting to the point where every time I was trying to go out, I was getting an IBS attack, and I just couldn't deal with it anymore. So I did so much research. I got so many headaches that week from just being online far too much, and I looked into so many different diet things, and there's so much like disagreeing opinion, and it's really difficult to find out what might actually help and what is just kind of mumbo jumbo, and I finally sort of settled on the low FODMAP diet, which is very much recommended for people with IBS, and I bought 2 books, and yeah, I gave it a go. So at first you have to take all the foods out that have FODMAPs in. So FODMAP is an acronym, and it stands for fermentable oligosaccharides, disaccharides, monosaccharides and polyols, and basically it's just a whole load of sugars, and polyols are sugar alcohols, and they are in an awful lot of different foods, and so the reason I did it is because it made sense to me, because I've never found a food that causes my attacks. Like, I don't have any sort of safe foods, I don't have any particularly bad foods, And so we'd always just kind of put it down to, oh, it must be stress causing it, because stress causes everything else that's wrong with me. And I am a highly stressed person. But yeah, I've never tried diet, I've never tried taking stuff out, because I could never find a pattern. But actually, after finding out quite how many foods have FODMAPs in, and there's loads of different ones, I realised that actually it might well be food. So yeah, I took all of these foods out of my diet, and this is all things like wheat, lactose, apples, peas, onions, garlic, so many different things, like I can't possibly list them all. Meat is fine, most fruit is alright, like certainly the fruit I eat apart from apples I'm allowed. Anyway, I'll do another video about this at a later point, but I took them all out and I haven't had an IBS attack since. So I would have had probably like 10 by now. I'm trying to think about how many times I've needed to go out for things or had sort of stressful things coming up in that period. And yeah, I would probably have had sort of between 5 and 10 attacks by now, and I haven't had one. And I can feel that stress definitely affects my stomach, because I can feel my stomach almost trying to have an attack, and then I don't go to the loo and I don't get stuck in there, and it's honestly brilliant. So I've got to start now reintroducing foods to try and find out exactly which FODMAPs I have an issue with and which ones I don't, so that I can then adapt my diet sort of permanently, either to take the ones that are an issue out of my diet completely, or another plan I've got is to, like, when I know I'm going to like look after my granddad, or if I'm seeing people and having visitors for a weekend, which those are the times when I normally have attacks, not eat those foods leading up to that, so the 2 days leading up to that and during that, and hopefully I will remain attack free. So yeah, watch this space. I will definitely do more videos about it if it works, because at the moment it's basically life-changing. So yeah, I think that's part of why my anxiety's been a bit better recently, and like by no means are we anywhere near saying like I've improved or I'm recovered or anything like that, but it's just not quite as awful as it was, because yeah, the anxiety about having attacks was just awful, because I mean it wasn't even worrying I was going to have one, it was knowing I was going to have one, and it was literally a case of, well, how bad's it going to be and how long is it going to last, and am I actually even going to be able to get out the door, because there were points at which I was having to cancel stuff or get up earlier just so that I could try and get the toilet thing out the way, and it's no way to live your life, like having to live your life around going to the loo, especially when you've then got other conditions like agoraphobia and social phobia, and like being absolutely terrified of using public toilets, or like even using other people's toilets. Like people who have IBS really don't like using other people's toilets if they don't have to, and yeah, there was just so much anxiety surrounding it. And I mean, I still worry a lot because it feels way too good to be true, and it's also not kind of been long enough to sort of know that this is what's causing it. It kind of feels like it could be a fluke. But yeah, I'm really, really hopeful, because having that sort of layer of worry taken away is so nice. I've realised how het up I'm getting doing this video. Like, I feel like I haven't breathed. I feel like I need to do a huge sigh once I've stopped recording, because I can feel all the air kind of creeping out of my lungs. But yeah, I'm definitely quite keyed up and stressed recently, which is probably why I'm not sleeping and why the eyebrows are disappearing. But yeah, it has been really nice finding this diet, and at least for the moment it making a difference. I have to say, I am bored stiff of the food I'm eating. I can't even tell you how much I miss onion and garlic. I eat that in everything. I am dying for some curry. My boyfriend makes really lovely homemade curries. We had burgers earlier in the week and they are really bland and really, really, like, not nice meaty, just very, very meaty. without onion in. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to having some proper food again. But I do think onion and garlic are a big issue for me, so I think those are going to have to be saved for special occasions and special dishes when I'm not going anywhere and I'm not having visitors. But that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. If it means that I don't have to worry about having IBS attacks and stuff and not getting ill and all of that, then it is worth it, even though the food is quite dull. But yeah, so that's my update. I don't think there's anything much more to tell you at the moment, at least not that you'll be remotely interested in hearing. But do let me know what you would like me to do mental health videos about, because as I say, my confidence was really knocked and it's starting to build up, but I don't have a lot of sort of confidence in me necessarily putting out the videos that you guys want. So please do let me know in the comments or via a private message on my Facebook page or my blog to let me know what you'd like me to do videos about, because really this channel is very much about you guys, because I really want to be a voice for all of us, not just myself. So I need to know what you want me to voice. So yeah, thank you so much for watching if you've watched till now, and I'm sure I'll be back soon, because yeah, I am much more enjoying, that doesn't even make sense, I can't speak anymore. I'm enjoying doing videos a lot more than I was, so I definitely want to be doing more of this while I've got this sort of renewed energy. So yeah, let me know what you want, and I will try to oblige. But yeah, if you liked the video, please do give me a thumbs up, do subscribe to my channel so that you know when videos are up, and yeah, I'll see you soon. Thanks very much for watching. Bye!